Don't have these email flows set up for your business, then you are missing out on money that you could essentially be making in your sleep. Welcome back to my series, Things I Wish I Knew When I Started My Business, where you can learn from my very silly and very expensive mistakes. So we're going to specifically focus on automated flows. If you do not have these set up, you are missing out on a lot of revenue. Just remember that your marketing shouldn't only be working when, for example, you post an Instagram post. That can help, but that should not be the only funnel. Please bear in mind that I will go into as much detail as possible, but this is a very high level overview. I go into each of these very in depth and more in the business method. So email flow number one is the welcome series. This is basically your chance to make an amazing first impression. When someone joins your email list, whether they've made a purchase or not, this very much just introduces them to your brand and sets the tone. It should include a welcome email, which is very much in your brand's tone of voice and basically introducing your brand. I'd also argue it should have a bestseller or service introduction. Remember that there is a real paradox of choice when it comes to your business. So you might know what the difference between your 300 products is, but likely when someone's just been introduced to your brand, they just want to know what the best sellers are so that they can actually test your brand that way. And you probably want them to as well, because your best sellers are your best sellers for a reason and therefore are more likely to convert into repeat custom. I would also recommend that about 5 days after the welcome, you have a light encouragement to purchase. So maybe with a discount or an offer of some form. Also for email sign up in the first place, best practice for direct to consumer is to offer a welcome discount. Email is an incredibly important list to build. I remember listening to a Shopify podcast on this, and they pretty much said that for the majority of businesses, there was very little difference between a 10 and 15% discount in terms of how many people actually signed up. So email flow number two is an abandoned cart recovery flow. This one is an absolute must-have because people get distracted, they leave things behind. With this flow, you essentially remind them gently about what they left in their cart, and you give them an easy little nudge to complete their purchase without having to go through your website again and remake their cart. I would recommend that the first email goes out just about an hour after they've left the site. Just a gentle, hey, you left something behind, will do you very well. Next, I'd actually recommend that you remind them why your products are worth it, like why they should actually check out. So you can tell them some benefits, USPs, customer reviews, and if they still haven't checked out 2 emails down the line, then a time-sensitive discount or a similar incentive is a great way to close the deal. Remember that these people who have created a basket have intent. They, at one point during their day when they were on your site, thought, I could buy this. So it's really about recovering those almost sales and turning them into actual sales. This next one is similar but slightly less obvious. It is the browse, abandon, recovery flow. This basically means that they came to your site, they didn't add anything to cart, but they were there. So this flow is a slightly less warm lead. So you basically want to say, hey, we saw you having a look. This is why you should come back. I would recommend that the first email showcases what they were looking at, maybe with a light sell on it. And the second, I would recommend to follow up actually with social proof. So customer reviews, related product recommendations, maybe even a bestsellers breakdown. Because remember, technically, if someone's presented 15 options versus 2 options, they are less likely to get anything at all with 15 options, more likely to get something if there are just 2 options. So how about you break that down for them into a bestsellers recommendation or similar product recommendation so that they are much more likely to check out. I would finally offer a small purchase incentive to drive that checkout. But really this entire flow is kind of that point where if you were in a physical shop, a shop assistant would come up to you and say, hi, can I help you? Like, can I clarify anything with you? Can I explain the different fit to you? Whatever that might be. That actually sometimes makes a huge difference. You just need a little bit of help. Now, number 4 is absolutely essential for your marketing, but this video is too long, so I'm going to save it for part 2.